In the previous video we looked at how to find the longest length in a right angle triangle where you are going to be using Pythagoras' theorem. This time we're going to look at finding a shorter length. So in the previous video we talked about, first of all, looking at the triangle and ensuring that the things that you need to make sure apply to your question to be able to use Pythagoras' theorem. So number one, is it a right angle triangle? In this case, yes. Number two, do you have two lengths and need to find a third? So we have two lengths here and we are wanting to find this length here. So yes, the two things apply. And we talked also about the formula for Pythagoras' theorem and how it's made up. Okay, now we're going to apply it when you're wanting to find a shorter length. So the first thing that we looked at doing was with labeling the triangle. So the first thing I talked about in the previous video was labeling the longest length, which is always opposite the right angle, and we always label that one C. And then the other two lengths, it doesn't matter whether you call them A or B. That doesn't matter. I'm just going to call this one A and I'm just going to call this one B, but that really doesn't matter. The most important one is the longest length, the hypotenuse, that we refer to as C. Then we're going to fill in the information that we have in our question. So A squared, we don't know what it is, so I'm just going to call it A squared still. B is 6, so plus 6 squared equals C squared, which is 10 squared. And then I'm going to work some things out. So A squared I can't work out, it's just A squared, plus 6 squared is 36, 6 times 6. 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is 100. Now, like any equation that you've formed, you need to find the value. In this case A, we need to rearrange it to find that value. So I'm going to firstly move the positive 36 across the equal sign by subtraction. So we're left with A squared on this side, and if we move the 36 by subtraction, then we get 100 minus 36, which is 64. Okay, now this is A squared, not A. So I need to do the opposite of squaring, which is to square root both sides. So A is equal to the square root of 64, which is 8. So my value for the shorter side is 8. Notice that when you want to find the longer length, the hypotenuse, you add the two numbers that you're given to square them, add them together and square root. But when you want to find the shorter side, you take the biggest length, square it, subtract the smallest length squared, and then square root. So there's a difference. So finding the biggest length, you add; find the shorter length, you subtract. But this is using the formula and rearranging it to make it to do it properly.